Innovation Challenge. Canada has a proud history of working together with our NATO allies. Today, we face a new challenge and an invisible threat, protecting against cognitive attacks. Your insights, your knowledge, and your innovations will help better protect NATO forces and their allies.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of NATO, Canada would like to welcome you to the Fall 2021 NATO Innovation Challenge pitch event. I'm Michael Mancini, and I will be your moderator for the day. Today, innovators from across the NATO alliance will pitch their best solutions on ways to counter the invisible threat of cognitive warfare. 10 finalists will showcase their solutions, and the top 3 solutions will be selected by our jury of experts. Cash prizes, bragging rights, and international recognition are on the line. There will also be a prize for a Made in Canada solution. Now, each team is ready with a 6-minute pitch to showcase their innovative solution. This will be followed by a 6-minute live Q&A session where the jury has the opportunity to ask the finalists questions. The top 10 has been selected, the jury is ready, and we are excited to get down to business. But before we do, just a few housekeeping details. For the finalists, during the Q&A session, please pay attention to the countdown timer that will be displayed on your screen. You'll be given exactly 6 minutes to answer questions. Your microphone will be muted after your 6-minute session is over. No exceptions. This is to ensure fairness to all finalists. Now, the audience will not have access to a microphone or chat option or be visible to participants or to the jury members. So if you are in the audience and want to turn off your camera, that's a-okay. If you need to leave and return, feel free to do so, and it will not disrupt the event. So, without further ado, let's get started. I now invite spiritual advisor Albert Dumont, poet laureate for the City of Ottawa, Canada, to provide a traditional Indigenous prayer.
Kwe Albert Dumont ni Nijnakas, Kitigan Zebing, ni Nonjaba, Kakina, Ninja Wenaganag, Kij Kenimika Goshkinoden. My name is Albert Dumont. I'm an Algonquin from the community of Kitigan Zebi near Maniwaki, Quebec. I'm coming to you today from this damp, beautiful though day in Algonquin territory. The floor here is covered with leaves from these trees, from these maple trees. And I want to wish everyone well with the NATO challenge. I'm going to offer words of a prayer. This is a prayer from Temagami First Nations. It's a prayer that's been in this country for thousands of years, and it was passed on to the people by a Second World War veteran named Bill Twain. And this is his beautiful prayer. I want to say to that good spirit, Minu Manado, how grateful we are for everything that Creator placed in our homelands that help human beings to live well. We acknowledge and honor every river, lake, and stream. We acknowledge and honor every bird, animal, fish, and all the good human beings. We're grateful for all those things in the sky world and all those things that live beneath the surface of the earth. We're grateful too for the bees and all the other insects that help the plants to grow. We're grateful for our medicines, and we're grateful for our ceremonies. We're grateful for our ability to prepare ourselves spiritually for that spirit world that will begin when this short physical life ends. We're grateful for our ability to bring peace and comfort to one another during times of troubles and in times of anguish. We ask you now, good spirit, to fill the space that we're in with your blessings and to touch each of us with the wisdom of our Anishinaabe ancestors. We ask that there will be good words spoken at the NATO challenge, strong words that will impact all the people emotionally and spiritually. We ask that if there's anyone who's listening to this prayer who has a relative or a friend who's suffering somehow, whether from addiction things or from depression or some kind of physical sickness, we ask that that relative or friend will have a good day today and that they will return soon to the family as a role model and as a mentor. We ask these things of you, good spirit, because of the great respect we have for everything that Creator has made. Miigwech.
Albert Dumont for this opening message. I now invite Jody Thomas, Canada's Deputy Minister of National Defence, to say a few words.
Hi, I'm Jody Thomas, Canada's Deputy Minister of National Defence. Canada is a proud partner of organizations that support and strengthen rules-based international order. Organizations like NATO. As a founding and active member of NATO, we're committed to helping ensure that all member nations are flexible, agile, and able to face the threats of today and tomorrow. Annually, since 2017, different NATO member nations have hosted scientific challenges that will benefit the host nation and fellow NATO member nations alike. This year, Canada is proud to host the Fall 2021 NATO Innovation Challenge. I'd like to thank the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command and the Innovation for Defence Excellence and Security Program for partnering to host this exciting event. The theme of this fall's challenge is cognitive warfare. Specifically, the challenge is seeking solutions to an emerging threat of modern warfare, a threat that attempts to change what people think and also how they act. On behalf of Canada, the Department of National Defence, and the Canadian Armed Forces, I'd like to officially welcome and thank all you innovators who've responded to this challenge. We look forward to hearing more about your ideas and your solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. I now welcome General Philippe Lavigne, NATO's Supreme Allied Commander, Transformation, to speak.
Distinguished authorities and guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all participants in North America and good afternoon to you on the other side of the Atlantic. I feel honored and excited to open the final of the 9th edition of the NATO Innovation Challenge. This is always an opportunity to meet the bright minds and witness human creativity. I would like to thank the Canadian Ministry of National Defence, the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command, and the Innovation for Defence Excellence and Security Program for their remarkable contribution. Let me also thank the Deputy Minister of National Defence, Jody Thomas, for taking the time to be with us today. It is an honor and a privilege to open this challenge with you. The NATO Innovation Challenge is an excellent symbol of what we do in the area of innovation at Allied Command Transformation, ACT, in Norfolk, Virginia. Our innovation approach is driven by its operational purpose. And this is the main reason why ACT, as the Warfare Development Command, was entrusted by the Allies to lead NATO's innovation efforts at the management level. Steve Jobs claimed that innovation is the only way to win, for sure. While innovation is important for the modern economy, it is also important for our security and defense. Innovation is crucial to ensure that we adequately adapt our military instrument of power and that we maintain our competitive advantage and our operational relevance for the benefits of our war fighters and our nations. The permanent questioning that innovation demands from us makes necessary for us to stay connected to the world of innovation and to embrace technological change. This is why we work closely with university, researchers, entrepreneurs, and others in the private and public sectors. Fostering innovation in NATO nations is one of the most important missions of my command. This is why we built the NATO Innovation Network, the large community of interest, because together we are stronger. Our host nation, Canada, is already a key actor in that network, and I'm very grateful for that. This edition of the Innovation Challenge seeks answers to an emerging and complex challenge characterizing our security environment: cognitive warfare. And we receive 132 solutions from a number of NATO nations, which we consider a great success. In this open and transparent Shark Tank competition, we intend to recognize the best solution that will help us develop tools to anticipate, detect, and block comprehensive attacks designed to manipulate public opinion. I must admit, I'm very excited to witness the creative solution being presented today on its topic. Let me wish all participants good luck and an enjoyable event for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General. As the host nation for this challenge, Canada has called upon the expertise of the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command, better known as CANSOFCOM, and the Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security Program, or IDEAS, to say a few words. We'll start with Major General Steve Boivin, Commander of CANSOFCOM. To speak, Eric Fournier is the Director General of Innovation with the Canadian Department of National Defence. Mr. Fournier, if you can, the floor is yours.
Bienvenue tout le monde. Welcome, everyone. I'm pleased to be here today with all of you and also my CANSOFCOM colleagues to host this event for Canada. As Director General Innovation for National Defence, it's great to see the work of Canadian innovators every day. We do this in our program and we're able to do this every day. Our innovation program, Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security, is also challenge-based, just like the call that we're living through today. We ask innovators to come up with solutions to challenge faced by our military. This has been an effective way to push innovators to all of us. Connecting people, ideas, and funding is allowing us to build a strong innovation ecosystem for defense and security in Canada. With this experience in hand, we're happy to strengthen capabilities in this important focus area, cognitive warfare. Really, trust is the target. And the best way to trust is through connection, is to build connectivity. And the connection that we're built today between us here in Canada with the NATO allies in our collective defense will grow stronger days, weeks, months, years after today. But I also have to say that winning is exciting. So we'll be able to see what's happening with our Canadian innovators as we move forward today. So this is why, in addition to the NATO prizes, Canada has decided to make a top Canada prize, so a Made in Canada prize. So I'd like to say good luck to all, and I think we'll have a good day. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Fournier. And now I invite the founder of NATO's Innovation Hub, Serge Dadepot, to speak.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you and be with you for this 9th NATO Innovation Challenge. I would like to stress the why we are here and why you are participating in this important event. The purpose is to make NATO adaptable. As it's said by the previous speakers, being adaptable and being able to respond to new challenges very fast is really the key for the future. And this is why we organize things like that. And this is why it's organized with many collaboration and many people coming, and definitely it's open to everyone. It's a real pleasure, but it's a necessity to open this kind of event to everyone in the public, because it's not only the people in government or uniform who are able to solve these problems as fast as needed. And so with this challenge, everyone is being invited to submit the solutions, and the best ones will be pitching today. And that's wonderful. This is how we are preparing for tomorrow. But it's not about just the civil population, it's also about the nations. And this innovation challenge is organized by the NATO Innovation Network, which gathers 16 innovation entities from 9 nations. Our host today and those who have been doing the heavy lifting is Canada, IDEAS, and CANSOFCOM. Thank you for that. But they represent all the nations that will be benefiting from this collaboration with the population in solving a very big issue. And so right after me, the pitches will start, and the judges who are there in the room will use this pitch time and the Q&As they will be able to launch after it to assess who are the best and who are the winners. So now I will invite you to watch a short video that will be presenting the members of the jury. Thanks everyone and good luck.
Here is our jury of experts. Marty Kazabowski, Executive Director of the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Old Dominion University, Norfolk, USA. Brigadier General Stephen Hunter, Deputy Commander, Canadian Special Operations Forces Command, CANSOFCOM, Canadian Armed Forces, Canada. Jeremy Cronin, Executive Director of the Open Seas Technology Innovation Hub, Old Dominion University, Norfolk, USA. Eric Fournier, Director General of Innovation, Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security, IDEAS, Department of National Defence, Canada. Brigadier General Poul Primdahl, Danish Army, Assistant Chief of Staff Requirements, Capability Development Directorate, NATO Allied Command Transformation Headquarters, Norfolk, USA. Dr. Ocean Vartanian, Senior Defense Scientist, Defense Research and Development Canada, DRDC, Department of National Defence, Canada. Lieutenant Colonel Dirk Schweikart, Deutsche Army, Chief Information Fusion Branch, Communications Division, NATO Allied Command Operations Headquarters, Belgium.
All right, you've met the jury. Now let's meet our first finalist. Team Influence Influencers has submitted a solution titled Deep Influence Affordances. Let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Ted Goranson. I used to run a lab in this area for NSA, and later I spent a lot of time at DARPA. I worked with some of the finest minds on cognitive warfare from our national labs and some of our key universities. Learned a lot, and I'm really pleased to introduce our team and our project to you. Influence Influencers. In addition to myself, we have 3 partners here. I will come back to them. Each one of them is expert in their field. Some are based in the US, some are based in Australia. Now, the problem is different in the combat area. It's not like social media. We have to relate it to military operations. There's a lot of tactical outcomes that we have to worry about. To illustrate that, I'm going to give a real-life example that everyone in this field knows. Russians invade Ukraine using separatists. They do a massive PSYOPs campaign, social media campaign, including threats to Ukrainian soldiers over their cell phones. They eventually are able to hijack that mechanism to target them with artillery fire. This is a mixed PSYOPs, social media, kinetic warfare example. We like it because it uses real methods. It's fairly recent. It's in a NATO context. And if we were working, this is how we would approach it. Now, don't worry about the details so much about this, but each one of these is a block. Up in the upper oval there is the system that the Soviets used, the Russians used to combine the PSYOP information with the targeting information. It is a UAV, uses off-the-shelf hardware. It is a vulnerable spot. In fact, 2 months later, they took the UAV out of the equation and substituted it with cell phone applications. The key piece here is this box in the upper, which is this thing that would be on that UAV, which is their hardware that manages the construction of the targeting narrative. Over on the left, down here at the low, is the feature library, which they use to advise this. Even though it's hard for us to get to this system up in the air, we can, if we were there, we could hack into this feature library and we could salt it with features that have the influence that we're worried about. The actual system down here, think of these brown lozenges as parts of the hardware, or in the case of a social thing, these are actual people. The green would be sort of the narratives, if you will, and the purple lines are the influences. The green here is the stuff that salts the system. It's the influence that they're injecting. If we're smart, we can inject our own, shown here as blue, in such a way that's promulgated by influences to have the outcome we want on the lower right. So we have these three layers. Down at the bottom is where everybody else works. They work on machine learning and natural language processing. We work up at a more abstract level in a really sort of a novel model of influence. Now this is hard. Nobody's doing it because it's hard. We have spent more than a decade on this. The hard part has initially been the computing foundations. When I was at NSA and DARPA, we sponsored a lot of stuff, primarily at Stanford. GCHQ did some parallel work over at Oxford. But now we're adding in the narrative science and the military science pieces. I'm going to say again, you'll probably hear a lot of people talking today about machine learning and whatever. That's not going to do it. We need these four experts and these four disciplines. The background of these folks is that they're each contributing pieces that have come from deep sponsorship in their areas, things from the national academies and the EU fifth framework, future and emerging technologies. Each of these pieces sort of add together to provide this innovative capability for cognitive warfare. Is it feasible? Well, we've got patents. We built some similar systems. We're working on the single synthetic architecture for NATO to see how we could fit in. And we have the lead research contract for the Australian Information Warfare.
Thank you, Team Influence Influencers. Your Q&A session is about to start. Your 6-minute session with the jury will start right after we hear the first question. Reminder that your microphone will be muted at the end of your allotted 6 minutes, no exceptions. So for this Q&A session, we'll start with the jury members in Norfolk. And once I turn the mic over to you, go ahead and ask your questions. After you have finished, the jury members in Ottawa can jump in directly. Then we'll pass it over to Belgium. Jury members in Norfolk, the mic is yours. Be sure to unmute if you're ready with questions.
Mom.
Go for it.
How about now?
You're good to go.
Okay, cool. Good morning. One of the questions I had when I read the abstract was in the narrative portion about this whole thing. You talked about the difficulties, the challenges of making cognitive dissonance attractive. Would you expound upon that a little bit?
I think I'll turn it over to our narrative dynamics expert, Beth. Is she on? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
So, cognitive dissonance, normally what is modeled as individual facts, and when people talk about narrative, they're just talking about one fact after another. But when you're dealing with influence in a military setting, or indeed any human setting, what you need is the ability to nest situations, to group facts into clusters that then collectively act on each other. So making it attractive, I'm not so much going to sell you on the attractiveness of stories, but I will say that narrative is the way that we reason about limited information in an open world. And once you're dealing with military combat situations, that is the customer. It doesn't help if it only works in a lab. And so these methods are designed to specifically deal with the problem of needing to be agile in an unpredictable situation.
So are you really talking about constructing narratives so that they're attractive and then would lead to cognitive dissonance, which would be a change in kind of the world model?
Yeah, let me speak to that. So what we've got is we've got a founding in situation theory, which is a way of modeling formally how narratives are influenced. And a narrative can be a computer program, but we're targeting it across the spectrum to include social desires and social imperatives. So we're focusing heavily on the social context with the intent modeling and influencing intent.
I was just wondering, I think it's very compelling, but have you given any thought to how you measure the effectiveness fast enough to actually be able to act on it or to utilize what you get?
Yes, our current work for information warfare under the Five Eyes contract with Australia specifically integrates this into the real-time operational context. And in fact, we're working with a Canadian firm who has the NATO design for the single synthetic environment for real-time decision-making in this environment.
And very quickly, how mature is this? How well codified in software and hardware are some of your concepts?
Well, I would say the concepts and the architecture are fairly well proven. They're at readiness level 6, but the integration within the military context, I'll have to say, is between 2 and 3.
Thank you, jury in Norfolk. Let's go to our jury members in Ottawa now.
May I go ahead?
Go ahead. Yes, go for it.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I actually had a question about the reasoning system that's implemented in your approach. And I was wondering whether you can say a little bit about the level of abstraction of the reasoning system. And the reason why I ask is I'm kind of interested to see how generalizable this reasoning system is for implementation and use in different kinds of contexts.
Yeah, the reasoning system is quite novel. What we're doing is we're building on category theory, category theoretic reasoning. So there's a two-sorted reasoning system. One uses machine learning and regular logic. In common combat C2 decision support, and we're supplementing that with categoric topos. We abstract into topoi to deal with abstract concepts, including what we call unknowns, unknowables that have reality in this left-hand side, have influence, but we don't know what they are. So we're adding in the ability to reason about unknowns and manipulate unknowns and present unknowns to the adversary.
The key feature is the ability to reason across states. And so we actually did several years of work with the National Academy's Keck Futures initiative to look at a biomedical application. So there are certain aspects that are very generalizable, because what you're trying to do is reason between one state and another, one context and another, and then connect them. That's a pretty consistent problem.
We have 36 seconds left. I'll go to our jury in Belgium if you have a question.
Yeah, it just goes somewhere in the same direction. How do you think, especially in these areas like sarcasm or humor being detected? Because this is, I think, one of the main challenges, this human factor in this approach.
Yeah, well, what's important here is the influence and not the content of a message, and influence is carried by those kinds of emotive concepts, including engineered ambiguity, which is the key thing that we capture.
Thank you, team influencers. That concludes our first pitch. So thank you for that. Before we continue to our second pitch, let's go back and take a look at our video that we missed. I'd like to now welcome Major General Steve Boivin, Commander of CANSOFCOM, if we are ready for that video. Dr. Yugoslav Achkowski-Skopje from the International Institute for Development and Research has submitted a solution titled Cognitive Warfare Early Alert System. Over to you.
Hi, I am a representative of International Institute for Development and Research, Dr. Yugoslav Achkowski-Skopje. The Cognitive Warfare Early Alert System, CWAS, is state-of-the-art solution based on cutting-edge technology, which is going to contribute to identification of cognitive attacks against NATO allies. The advantages of the system will be acknowledged via fast recognition of emerging threat and deterrence of potential adversaries to exploit social medias for attacks in the cognitive domain. Through this presentation, we will cover potential impact of CWAS and its usefulness. Furthermore, we will go over its innovativeness concepts and conclude with its feasibility.
The priority in countering cognitive warfare threat is to prevent it at its roots before it reaches a large target audience on which it can have its impact. The project develops an early warning and prevention system which can analyze trending posts and identify cognitive attacks within them by running the posts through multiple identification systems. The goal of this system will be the creation of a single large cognitive attack database which will be distributed in all NATO regions. Self-learning AI programs that must identify objects or images are fed large amounts of data to create a neural network that matches the situation that needs to be identified. By using this logic, the system will be able to connect the cognitive attack database provided by CWAS and give the self-learning AI data to maintain a continuous and ever-going learning process in the identification of cognitive threats. Deploying such a system would greatly increase the efficiency of countering cognitive warfare threats, and due to the system's automated nature, it would greatly reduce the expensive resources in combating such threats.
The innovation of this concept stems from the idea that fuzzy logic has not yet been applied to this type of data processing. Through another research, the concept of fuzzy logic can be expanded, and more opportunities can be used to enhance system-wide optimization. Users from certain regions, Balkan, Baltics, etc., will visit a popular hashtag on social networks, Facebook, Twitter, etc. If that hashtag goes viral with many posts, the hashtag collector will automatically collect those posts. After collecting the popular posts, the word filtering software will compare the post's content with previously defined keywords, terrorism, politics, murder, etc., inserted in the database. Furthermore, the collected data is transferred to the fuzzy logic controller. Next, the information is stored in AI self-learning database for further analysis. With the help of the input data, which will be a data set from the ratio between number of views and shares and the time when a post was published, whether the publisher has ever published suspicious posts, etc., as well as the coincidence of suspect database keywords with viral leads, we will be able to do some evaluation. Output data will represent a level of risk and a prompt warning as to whether a suspicious post should be evaluated as threatening or not. The fuzzy logic controller decides whether or not the viral post will be flagged as a threat and sent for further analysis to be classified as a cognitive threat. Every NATO member from a certain region would have access to the region's database of cognitive threats via designated national representatives. Moreover, from all regional databases, data are going to be replicated in the main database for AI machine learning software at NATO headquarters for better review and future AI learning.
After collecting enough cognitive attacks in dataset, the artificial intelligence software will learn about cognitive attacks and we will be able to identify and predict cognitive attacks on social medias. The whole process is conducted in very short time and gives security agencies to react on timely manner. The whole system is feasible and is much more advanced than the old algorithm as mode flame algorithm. The fuzzy logic system is unique, cheap and simple. Depending on the requirements and request complexity, the implementation of this system could vary in development. System could be developed in several phases to achieve the goal of preventing and predicting cognitive threats on social media. On the short term, the resources needed to build this system may seem overwhelming, but on the long run, the system advanced will be cost effective. To be more precise, when the system is developed with standard functionalities, it will be easier and cheaper to upgrade and maintain with advanced modular applications with different functionalities to satisfy the ever-changing concept of cognitive warfare over social medias. Thank you for this opportunity. We will be glad to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Achkowski-Skopje. Your Q&A session is about to start. Jury members, for this Q&A session, we will start with Ottawa and then Belgium and then Norfolk. Jury members in Ottawa, the floor is yours, so throw in your question.
Good morning. Cognitive warfare to me is it's feelings, it's opinions, it's what I look into it. Now, if you look at your solution, there's a lot of technical solutions. How will you integrate that category of influencing people, that opinion, the way people react to your solution?
Okay, I believe that this technical solution regarding in terms of the traditional one, it could be one thing that we have started is that we have started from that fastest way of sharing information is via social medias, and the biggest influence to the citizens has those social medias, and therefore our solutions is based on this digitalized to nowadays contemporary AI solutions. And therefore we are saying also in our solution that it's a state-of-the-art solution.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Belgium if we've got a question.
Yes, actually it's two questions. The first question is that access to social media data is also limited with legal constraints, because if private enterprise own this data and access to this data is not that easy, especially if we're talking about historical data or the full access. So how do you manage, or how you want to integrate all this data along this legal constraints? And the second question would be, just go for the first question, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your questions. First, regarding the question, maybe we could start from that there is already existing hashtag collectors online platforms. That if you are going to visit those online collectors hashtag collectors platforms, then if you want to do some search, you are going to get the results. So our system also is going to be based on the web services that we are going to get the data that could be transferred to our database, and also because here we have in our background is NATO, and the countries is also and states. Also with those companies could be some negotiation about data that could be get and that will needed to be added into the database in order to achieve our solution. And also my colleague, please.
I would like to add upon this that all the data we're going to get are public data which are available across the social medias. We are not going to scratch after anyone's private chats or private data. So the goal is to train the AI system using the data sets which are legally obtainable. Then furthermore, when we develop the AI system which is capable of recognizing cognitive warfare on its own, we can expand it further on other data sets and other things other than social medias.
Okay, and the second question was about a lot of social media has also the problem with bots and artificial intelligence working already in the system. So has your system also something to detect these bots, which are not real persons displaying data in your system? I'm talking about the bot detection. Not everything is done by humans, it's done by bots or other artificial intelligence.
I would like to add to that, due to that, the fuzzy logic controller will pick up details about users, and we have certain parameters and measures to detect for certain users if they, for example, the same bot is used in many ways. We could detect by its post history, or the software will detect its post history and could easily detect if it's a bot or not. But the main focus is that we get enough examples of cognitive warfare threats. So it really doesn't matter if it's a bot or it's a repeated offender. Our job is to train the AI, get as much information as we can about cognitive warfare, because it's an ever-evolving concept. So we can have a continuous learning set, which we can in future use to apply sanctions to those doing it. So in future, once we develop, we could stop those bots and people.
Thank you. Let's go to our jury in Norfolk if you've got questions.
The fuzzy logic. Oh, you're muted. Okay.
You're okay.
Are you okay? The fuzzy logic controller and this database who has to be in all 30 countries of the alliance. I mean, have you given any thought to the false narratives that is going out between the countries, or allegedly false narratives going out between countries, and how do we deal with agreeing to that database among the 30 of us?
Well, we're making the fuzzy logic controller to work with a certain regions. So we will have different regions, different keywords, different standards in different regions. So they will be communicating with themselves, but will be produced in different regions, especially.
Thank you for that. This concludes our second pitch. Appreciate that. Let's meet the next finalist. Team AdTech has submitted a solution titled Reignite, Recognizing Harmful Cognitive Influence to Ignite Effective Intervention. Let's hear what they have to say.
Many times when I try to emphasize the importance of the virtual and cognitive dimensions of conflict, I was told that war and conflict will always be about physical destruction. And yes, I was under fire and I had to use my rifle, but the main reason I had to use it was a lack of understanding of the cognitive dimension and human behavior. My name is Gwenda Neelan, former lieutenant colonel, sociologist, and behavioral influence expert. And this is me. I've been deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, the Sahel region, and Georgia. And as a policymaker on hybrid warfare, I try to promote a human-centric approach. I was convinced that comprehensive solutions in public-private alliances were essential, and I tried to bring together the best of all these worlds. But with pain in my heart, I realized I had to leave the army to overcome some of the hurdles within and be able to make a real difference. So beginning 2021, after more than 20 years of service, I left the army and joined a startup that had some great ideas on how to fight disinformation and harmful manipulation of behavior. Why? Because people can't protect themselves against the unconscious and invisible weaponization of civilians. If man-defined situations is real, they are real in their consequences. And furthermore, we see an increasing amount of online manipulation for political, economic, ideological, and personal gains with harmful real-life effects. And all of this causes a decline of trust, undermining state and street-level security. So we integrate tech, content, social context, and psyche in an online-offline monitoring concept to understand how narratives are constructed, spread, amplified, and what behavioral instigators are used to manipulate perception and human action. Therefore, we brought together the different building blocks of manipulation of perception and behavior. We monitor, detect, investigate, analyze, and report on online manipulation. Not just the use of bots or manipulated images, but also the purpose, the behavioral change instigators, authenticity of messaging, an assessment of probable harm or threat, and possible illegitimate actions. I'm happy to pass it on to Tigo now, our product owner and machine learning expert, who will tell you all about our innovative methodology and technology.
At ATTAC, we believe in human-computer collaboration. In order to monitor and provide interventions to disinformation in real time, we leverage a computer system that continuously works through a vast amount of data. Such automated analyses enable our in-house experts to focus primarily on suspicious content. Our disinformation experts have been trained to interpret such data in a rigorous and ethical way. To help with the classification of specific techniques and tactics used in disinformation campaigns, and to propose interventions, they are trained in using the EMET framework, which is open source and regularly updated by independent researchers. Our in-house analysts also continuously provide feedback to improve our platform. In order to do high-quality automated forensics, we need good data. As the saying goes in the data science community, garbage in, garbage out. In order to safeguard that our data ingestion is continuous and secure, our scrapers are custom built and stress tested, and we make use of a state-of-the-art proxy network. Our storage infrastructure follows secure by design principles, and we make sure that the storage of collected data is separated from the database that is customer specific and used to perform analyses. This enables us to anonymize parts of the data when required by GDPR regulation, and only allow the unlocking of such content on a need-to-know basis. Our platform will feature a variety of pre-trained machine learning models. Some of those will be based around detecting signs of coordinated inauthentic behavior. A second class of models will be based around natural language processing, enabling the detection of hateful speech and polarizing content, among others. If you want to use our technology with your own analysts, we provide intuitive and customizable dashboards. And finally, we aim to continuously label data and train supervised machine learning models to detect specific techniques and tactics. Such custom models can also be trained according to your specific interests. At ATTAC, we believe in using state-of-the-art technology to prevent damage done by disinformation campaigns.
ATTAC is the right team to bring this solution because of our startup approach. We have built an interdisciplinary team of data scientists, social scientists, and hands-on analysts who bring together insights from their respective fields. Using an agile approach, they have developed our solution iteratively, learning from real-life bumps in the road and adapting as they go. They draw on a network of experts in the field of disinformation and cognitive manipulation that we've built over the years, including scientists from the University of Cambridge. But most importantly, we have tested our solution working with our most important target audience. In the past year, we have successfully reported on disinformation narratives and techniques during the Dutch parliamentary elections and in support of the COVID vaccination process for the Dutch government. This has convinced us that the public-private alliance is the best and only way to develop reliable monitoring services. It creates trust, brings together the needs of different stakeholders, and widens the scope of what is possible. So here's our ask. Co-create the future of monitoring with us so that we can build a safer world together.
Thank you, Team AdTech. Your Q&A session is now about to start. Your 6-minute session with the jury will start, of course, right after we hear the first question. Reminder that your microphone will be muted at the end of your allotted 6 minutes. So for this Q&A session, we'll start with our jury member in Belgium, then go to Norfolk, and then Ottawa. Jury member in Belgium, over to you.
Thank you. Here also, again, my first question is going to the direction of the challenges of the human factor. So how do you get after the IA challenge of sarcasm, humor, compared to hate speech, and how you detect these? And the second question is how you measure against like a certain situation to a baseline. So is there the possibility of a baseline assessment, which you then later on can measure against developments if there is something happening? Over.
I'll try to tackle that question. So there are existing machine learning models trained on a detection of several of these types of emotive contents. And so for the English language, we have pretty good pre-trained models that are tested by the scientific community. And for each language that we'll operate in, we'll train those machine learning models from scratch ourselves. Which also means that we'll have a group of people labeling content as to exactly, the different types of labels that you can assign to it. Is it a polarizing language? Is it hateful language? And these sort of things. So we'll have in-house label data sets. This goes also further than just the standard natural language processing models, but it's a good start, we feel. Because we also like we mentioned in the pitch, we use the Emmet framework, which is actually has sort of tries to identify the different stages and different tactics that are associated with different stages in a disinformation campaign, and which also allows to label actually quite more sophisticated tactics and the associated interventions.
Great. Let's go to our jury in Norfolk. Just unmute. Go for it.
Cool. Hello?
Yeah.
There we are. You speak about having done a project where you were monitoring COVID messaging. This stuff's not easy. Can you describe the hardest part of that project? What was the biggest challenge in there?
I think I can answer this question. I think the biggest challenge was to proceed to get started. But the hardest thing in doing the COVID is the continging on the platforms, making it hard to have our scrapers continuously be effective. So we have to adapt the scrapers every time to be sure that we have near real-time monitoring on the platforms. And I think to report it back in a way that is understandable and of use to the customer. So we do weekly presentations. We provide the reports in a format that the client requires. So sometimes it might be a video or PDF, slide deck. So just finding the way with the customer how the information should be presented, that it's also of use. And I think by working with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, we kind of now have a working approach so we can quickly get to the point that we also deliver something that you can make use of.
If I could just add to that, I think on the underlying issue itself, we are quite hesitant to do any sort of fact checking, and I think we are very happy that the clients that we work with are agree with this philosophy. So we really try to focus. Of course, you don't get around focusing on the content to some extent, but we really try to focus primarily on do we see signs of coordinated inauthentic behavior? Do we see signs of disinformation tactics being used, rather than focusing on is this information true or false? So if that's what you're referring to in terms of COVID being a difficult topic, then I wanted to add that.
If I may,
let's go. Yes, absolutely.
I'm curious. So, do you believe you have a role in helping your customer figure out what's next? It's great to detect and report, but what really matters is what do you do next? Do you have a role in helping them understand that?
Yeah, of course. We try to also then work with them on solutions, like what are possible interventions. So we look at the capabilities that the client has and to what extent they can be used. And in most cases, when the disinformation is out there, it's hard to undo it. So that's why we believe in understanding and getting insight early enough, like early detection, so we can actually be upfront. And so on the other hand, we also provide games that can help build resilience, for instance. So we also try to come up with other products so that we can together work on insight and understanding, but also on interventions and prevention.
Yeah, so you mentioned early. How early is early? How much lead time can you improve as opposed to normal methods of doing this?
It depends on the topic and the platform. So now we are experimenting with a tool that can also search on Telegram. If that works, most of the early narratives are from Telegram. So we have to still prove the concept, but it looks good. And if we can also be active on Telegram, that would help us and you a lot.
It looks like that's all the time we have. Thank you. And this concludes our third pitch. Let's meet our next finalist. Team Prevency has submitted a solution titled CRISIM, the digital training platform for virtual crisis and media simulation. Let's have a look.
My name is Lars Niggemann. I'm founder and CEO of Prevency, and I'm happy to present you our team's solution called CRISIM. First, let me introduce our company. Prevency is a service provider for combating reputation and cognitive threats based in Germany. We support companies and institutions to improve their readiness to face cognitive threats and reputational threats through targeted empowerment. For this purpose, we provide a unique combination of consulting, training, and cutting-edge technology, which is already being used successfully in private, government, and military sector. Our motto is better safe than sorry. This principle applies not only in a China shop, because the shards of a shattered reputation are difficult to put back together again, and it is at least as difficult to put the genie of disinformation back in its bottle. We believe that cognitive attacks are repelled best by humans, not by technical systems. Therefore, we are convinced that training plays one of the biggest parts in combating cognitive warfare and preventing its harmful consequences. Our digital media simulation application CRISIM offers a digital training system for this purpose and lets you fend off cognitive attacks virtually before they become reality. CRISIM simulates the digital information environment in which threat scenarios can be realistically played out in real time. In this way, users can practice dealing with cognitive attacks in a customizable training environment. Just to make sure, these screenshots do not show real social media. They show our simulation. So, how exactly is our application beneficial to the fight against cognitive manipulation? First, a simulation exercise with CRISIM creates a true experience with a high level of physical and emotional involvement, leading to an increased awareness of cognitive threats. Second, It creates valuable hands-on skills in identifying and dealing with such attacks, as you can practice repeatedly in groups or individually. Third, CrySim provides an isolated simulation environment in which tactical experimentation, testing, and optimization can be conducted. Ultimately, the experience of a simulation, the awareness and confidence gained, leads to increased resilience to cognitive warfare. Let's talk innovativeness. What we are presenting is not a new idea, but one that is based on experience and is unique in its implementation. Our first simulator was developed to train social media crisis communication skills and is successfully used by companies as well as governmental and military institutions like the Canadian Forces. Taking the experience we had gained from our first simulator, we built up CrySim from scratch, implementing unique features like automated simulation of background noise, sentiment-triggered information laundering, customizable scorings, group and team exercises. The cutting-edge technology, features, and functionalities make CrySim the first and only simulation platform of its kind. Not only today, but also in the future. Built on a modular system, CrySim offers a high degree of flexibility and adaptability to keep pace with the fast-evolving cognitive threats. CrySim was built in cooperation with NATO Stratcom COE to cover their requirements and therefore meets military standards. It has been designed as a browser application and can be used as a software-as-a-service solution or can be installed locally. To provide a high level of connectivity and adaptability, the platform offers API access. Since we are presenting you an existing application, our solution can be obtained and put to use immediately within a subscription license model. Here, we offer fair and transparent subscription plans based on the number of users and exercises. No costs are charged for the initial implementation. Let me sum up once again our proposed solution. CrySim offers you a next-gen immersive training platform to empower people to competently counter cognitive threats. Our solution offers a high degree of flexibility and adaptability to keep pace with the fast-evolving cognitive threats, meets military standards, and can be deployed immediately. Ultimately, with CrySim, we make our contribution to society's digital sovereignty and resilience in the face of cognitive attacks and attempts at manipulation. Thank you very much for your attention. We are very excited to be part of this challenge and look forward to engaging with you.
Thank you, Team Prevency. Your 6-minute Q&A session is now about to start. This time we'll start with jury members in Ottawa, then we'll go to Belgium and then Norfolk. Jury members in Ottawa, the mic is now yours.
Yeah, thanks very much. So my question's around keeping the software relevant. So we know the information environment and cognitive threats are evolving rapidly. How do we, or how do you intend to remain at pace with these evolving threats to make sure that the training's relevant for members of NATO nations?
Team Prevency, go for it.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. So maybe let me take this one. So our system is built up on a modular basis. So as of now, as you mentioned, the information environment is really dynamic and changing really fast, especially when it comes down to the different channels that are used online. So different social media channels, for example, we see that now messaging, Telegram, we talked about this just a second ago, is now relevant. So our system, like we can add any channel really fast to the system and by this, like make it adaptable to future threats as well, because it's not set on a specific set, for example, of digital channels, but we can add to that really easily.
I also have a question. I think it's very interesting that you've actually opted to focus on training individuals for building resilience. But one of the major issues that typically comes up in the training literature is how durable your effects are. So in other words, if you've trained a person to criterion and the person becomes better at doing what you think they're doing, do you need booster sessions? Have you done any kind of research to see how robust those changes are and whether the gains will still be there after some time?
Yeah, so I completely agree with what you just said. We have not done research on this, but I can just talk from experience because we have conducted a lot of crisis exercises. And what we have learned so far is that it's really important to regularly do those kind of exercises. So have rather short exercises and training sessions, for example, but repeat them on a monthly basis or quarterly basis to really strengthen those effects of the training session, because otherwise, of course, if you do a training session once, the effects will fade over time.
Okay, let's go to our jury member in Belgium if you have a question.
Yes, so the question is quite easy. How easy can you adapt your training sessions to the real world scenario? Because what we see is that more and more, for example, military training and exercises orientates itself more on the actual real scenarios, because military leaders have no time to read into scenarios and adapt new fake or made up environments. So they need to deal with real issues. Is this also part of your construct?
Yeah, so with our tool, you can pretty much play through any scenario you want to play through, because you can completely individually set up an exercise based on your training purpose. So, for example, you take a current issue that you want to train on, and you design an exercise scenario, and you can transfer this into the system. You can have this whole scenario, a playbook kind of, pre-schedule things. And you can also put in information of the different stakeholders included in the exercise into the system. So that way also the training audience doesn't have to read through a huge catalog of scenario books and so on. And it's really time effective also for the training audience to prepare for exercises conducted in our system as well.
Thank you. Let's go to our jury in Norfolk.
Okay, you talked a lot about the media and the simulation platform, which is, there's a lot of that out there. But the magic that really makes those things work is the curriculum that it's used against. Can you speak to the curriculum development required to achieve some result in the area of cognitive warfare?
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, cognitive warfare is always a targeted thing. So let's take, for example, disinformation campaigns. They follow a specific pattern, and they always have a specific goal: influencing, polarizing. And so we think that it's not only important to, for example, simulate a disinformation, like fake news article or something, and have people learn how to identify disinformation, but learn how to identify, for example, the patterns behind an attack on the cognitive domain. And especially when we think about communicators or strategic communicators, I think it's really important, because they're the ones out there who monitor social media and so on, the ones who will be the first to become aware of such patterns. And we think it's really important to train them to, on the one hand, detect, and then on the other hand, act really fast and develop countermeasures to target such targeted campaigns, for example. So in our opinion, it should really go from learning how to identify and assess a situation, how to develop measures against them, and conducting those measures as well before it's too late.
You have 15 seconds if you wanted to add any more, team.
I wonder whether you could address, what is the training audience here? One could argue that if it's about resilience, then it's the whole population. Then it's every high school student. Have you given that thought?
Yeah, am I allowed to answer that question?
Unfortunately, that's the 6 minutes, sadly. Sorry about that. This concludes our fourth pitch. Let's see the last pitch before the break. Team Cosmos has submitted a solution titled Characterizing Multi-Platform Influence Campaigns to Strengthen Socio-Cognitive Security. Let's have a listen.
Hi, I'm Nitin Agarwal, representing Team Cosmos from the United States. We are thrilled to participate in the NATO Innovation Challenge. Our solution is characterizing multi-platform influence campaigns to strengthen social-cognitive security. Briefly about us, Cosmos stands for Collaboratorium for Social Media and Online Behavioral Studies, a statewide research center headquartered in Arkansas. Currently, we have 42 members from various parts of the world, offering a multinational perspective to the problems we face today. Now to the problem we are solving and its usefulness. If we consider blogs and vlogs as payload where narratives are framed, then Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Telegram, etc. are the delivery mechanisms. To strengthen the foundation of socio-cognitive security apparatus, it is critical to understand strategic orchestration of social media to effectively combat multi-platform influence operations. Our solutions address this problem and have helped monitor influence operations during NATO exercises, monitor terrorist, extremist campaigns for recruitment, radicalization, raising funds, monitor coordinated inauthentic behaviors during 2019 Canadian federal elections, monitor influence campaigns in the Indo-Pacific region, and help policymakers raise awareness about COVID-19 misinformation and scams to combat the misinfodemic. Getting bottom line upfront quickly to the analyst is critical to mission success, so precise data collection is important. Our distributed, resilient, and scalable data collection framework collects daily over 300 gigabytes of relevant multimedia data. We prepare actionable insights with Bluff by the evening and share through APAN so that the officers can review first thing in the morning. We keep our data boundaries flexible to discover known unknowns, but also unknown unknowns. To get the Bluff quickly to the analyst, our solution provides basic filters such as language, location, volume, etc., as shown in the left. Our advanced filters sift through millions of vlogs within seconds and extract top narratives with their resonance. Prominent anti-NATO narratives identified using our solution are shown in the right. Real-time analysis helps identify discourse shifts of information actor. Analysts can use these filters to set up indicators and warnings. These images show our transition path. Influence assessment helps in measuring level of the success of the cognitive attack. Our award-winning influence assessment model captures key influencers and their reach, allowing real-time monitoring of their attack intensity. During NATO exercises, key influencer blogs were identified from millions in seconds that were pushing mocking tones, conspiracy theories, anti-NATO, anti-US narratives, call for anti-NATO protests, and also identified influential bloggers such as Graham Phillips during Crimean annexation. We can track an actor's influence across platforms using social cyber forensics by revealing multi-platform information conduits to track narrative flows, identify key influencers, and their reach across platforms. Here we see influencers pushing anti-NATO propaganda across platforms. SCF allows detection of coordinated inauthentic behaviors for content amplification or virality. This tactic is deployed to manipulate search engines. This effort was quite successful during 2019 Canadian federal elections. Rebel Media Group set up at least 291 deepfake-style websites to amplify anti-Trudeau narratives. Findings are published in NATO's Stratcom Journal, our book, and Journal of Future Conflict, with support from RMC, CanSoftCom, and DRDC. Influence campaigns are becoming increasingly coordinated, be it blogs, clickbaits, YouTube, or Twitter. Decision makers need timely information to assess attack impact and develop effective combat strategy. We identify key network structures and assess power of influence campaigns in real time, leveraging operations research, social network analysis, and collective action theory. Using epidemiological modeling, our solution further categorizes population as susceptible, exposed, infected, or skeptic that allows decision makers to inoculate right group of individuals for effective mitigation of cognitive attack. To counter cognitive threats from video-based online information environment, we use multimedia data fusion models to allow analysts to conduct socio-cognitive and behavioral assessments in real time. Our solution is evaluated in Indo-Pacific region due to disproportionately high usage of video platforms. We identified anti-West narratives being intensely pushed on YouTube. We provide rapid narrative extraction through award-winning video barcode approach, detection of anomalies in engagement scores, commenter mobs, channel syndicates, algorithmic manipulation. Image on the right shows our transition paths. All the solutions presented here are thoroughly researched, developed, evaluated, and published in over 250 international journals and conferences, including NATO Science for Peace and Security, Defense Stratcom Journal, Journal Baltic Security. Our innovations have won 15 Best Paper Awards. Basing in some advanced capabilities already exist in our tools, and there is a clear transition path for our solutions. Our tools are selected by U.S. State Department's Global Engagement Center's Go to Tech program. We have conducted training for public affairs officers, info ops, IOP officers for NATO member nations at Stratcom, Cyber Command, Marine Information Group. We have prepared a short intro video of these capabilities.
Blog Trackers is a social computational tool that can track, monitor, and understand blogs, bloggers, and real-time world events. Hello, today I'm going to show you all about YouTube Tracker and what you can do from viewing videos from a keyword to getting some basic information off those videos.
These and other in-depth case study videos are available on our website listed here. I would like to thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share our solutions and acknowledge funding from the U.S. Defense and National Science Foundation that have made these innovations possible.
Thank you, Team Cosmos. Your 6-minute Q&A session is going to start now. We'll start with our jury members in Ottawa, then we'll go to Belgium and then Norfolk. Jury members in Ottawa, over to you.
Oh, hi, thank you very much for your presentation. In the material that you provided to us, you mentioned that your V-Tracker is able to detect what you called inorganic behavior. I was wondering whether you can explain how you define inorganic behavior and how your V-Tracker can actually detect it.
First of all, I'd like to thank the distinguished jury for giving us the opportunity to share our solutions as well as for the question. Coming to the inauthentic behaviors that we are defining, basically we are looking at how social media users, specifically YouTube bloggers or vloggers, are exploiting the system by buying views or buying subscribers. So when we track a channel's progress over time, we can clearly see if there are certain spikes in the number of subscribers or number of views. That is quite unexplainable based on the baselining that we have established. Furthermore, we are able to see if YouTube ever takes a corrective action. In many cases, that was the case, especially in the Indo-Pacific region, where we saw that YouTube then further removed those artificial subscribers or purchased subscribers. So there was a negative dip in their subscriber counts over time. Furthermore, when we look at the commenter behaviors who comment on a channel or on a video in a channel and then move from one video to the other, almost like a book club, exclusive club, and they make comments to achieve virality of the videos, because YouTube's recommendation algorithms look at that type of a behavior, whether a YouTube video is gaining virality based on the content engagement. And those type of actions are detected by our approach that leverages advanced trend analysis, outlier detection, spike detection, peak detection, and many other sophisticated statistical measures, but also network structural measures that detect those commenter mobs that move from one video to the other. And then furthermore, what we are able to do is to stretch it to the algorithmic manipulation, meaning if that effort has been successfully able to manipulate YouTube's search rankings. And we showed that during some of our NATO exercises participation, as well as in the Indo-Pacific region, when you search for those keywords, let's say South China Sea or Anaconda exercise or Trident Juncture exercise, then the videos that are shown to exhibit manipulative strategies or disinformation tactics on these YouTube platforms, they jump up the search rankings. So our approach is not able to detect, but also measure how much they are successful in manipulating the YouTube's search and recommendation algorithms.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to our jury in Norfolk. Just unmute. There we go.
It seems like you have some pretty robust stuff here. Is this being currently used by the DoD or any of the other alliance members?
Thanks for the question. And the answer is yes. It has been currently used by all forces within US DoD, Army, Navy, Air Force, as well as we have been fortunate to deploy this technology within the state of Arkansas while we were monitoring COVID-19 disinformation campaigns. We're working very closely with the state's Attorney General's office. Furthermore, we have had the chance to brief our technologies to the U.S. Senate members, such as Senator John Boozman, Tom Cotton, and also international partners include, of course, NATO. During the exercises, we have participated and deployed these technologies. We have shared our findings with the Five Eyes Intelligence Coalition during the COVID-19. Furthermore, we are also currently working in the Indo-Pacific region with Australian DoD, DSTO specifically, the Strategic Policy Grants Program Initiative, and our various regional partners, Indonesia, Philippines, Taiwan, and so on.
Great. There's 2 minutes remaining. I'll open the floor to jury members in either of the 3 cities if there is an extra question.
Yeah, I'm always curious on how this changes behavior. Can you talk a little bit about how the people you've worked with, whether they're politicians or DoD or whoever else, actually use this information to impact the situation, and particularly to go after not only, well, the influencers, but the influenced? How do you go after the people who have been influenced?
Thank you for that question. And I'll take one specific example. During our work with Arkansas Attorney General's office, where we are constantly monitoring misinformation campaigns and scams about COVID-19, we have set up a website where we are identifying and making all these misinformation campaigns listed and blasting it through various news outlets, radio channels, so that we can reach the remote corners of Arkansas in terms of education and awareness about these misinformation campaigns. We have seen that when we started the website, we were not getting as many hits on the website, but now after 6 months, we were able to get a lot of hits from those remote corners of the state, which are considered to be the hotspots or vulnerable locations for misinformation to thrive and influence behaviors. So with the help of our reports that we share with the AG's office, Attorney General's office almost every day, we are able to not only forecast which areas to monitor, but also be able to monitor our solutions' effectiveness.
Tell me more about that. How do you know you've changed people's minds?
So what we have done is basically when we set up this website and we monitor constantly, we were not able to see as much hits on the website. So we detected the outreach strategy was not correct, meaning we were just blasting it on social media platforms. But in this case, we are able.
Cosmos. Team Cosmos, I apologize. That's all your time, unfortunately. This concludes the 5th pitch. We'll now take a short break and we will return at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's in 7 minutes, I believe. Welcome back. We saw 5 interesting pitches before the break, and we have 5 more teams that will pitch before the jury can reach its final decision. Our next team is Polaris, who has submitted a solution titled iTrust, the Integrated Trustworthy Situational Tableau. Let's have it here.
My name is Chris Garcia. I'm a professor at the University of Mary Washington and a technology architect at Polaris. Polaris is a technology startup based in Virginia and was founded by Gay Thribati, a professor and entrepreneur at Old Dominion University. We develop advanced decision technologies that employ simulation, optimization, data analytics, and artificial intelligence to solve complex problems. At Polaris, we developed a platform called the Intelligent Holistic Emergency Platform, or IHELP, to optimize logistical plans in case of humanitarian disasters. We use artificial intelligence to identify people calling for help through social media and present an optimized plan to respond to their needs. In this challenge, we build on our analytical experience to develop another platform called the Intelligent Trustworthy Situational Tableau, or iTrust. iTrust is an intelligent crisis management platform for monitoring, foresight, and optimal response in rapidly evolving situations such as a pandemic or humanitarian disaster. Crisis scenarios are characterized by chaotic, rapidly evolving conditions. Decision makers need to take into account a constant flow of information, which is often inconsistent. Moreover, they need to know how the situation is most likely to evolve and quickly take action. iTrust puts cutting-edge information discovery, foresight, and action recommendation capabilities into the hands of decision makers. iTrust fuses data from multiple sources and social media outlets into an understandable, comprehensive, real-time situational awareness. Trust scores and confidence level for each piece of incoming information are estimated with the help of AI, enabling less than trustworthy information to be appropriately integrated. Intelligent information fusion algorithms then combine this information together into a live, comprehensive, understandable situational awareness. Combining incoming situational data with user-defined metrics and actions, iTrust employs AI to project the near-term evolution of the situation and recommends the optimal course of action for the desired outcome. iTrust combines together cutting-edge AI, analytics, and optimization technologies. iTrust incorporates information using listeners for different data sources and utilizes natural language processing, computer vision, and machine learning to extract incoming information. Users can select the types of information they wish to see, then define and prioritize high-level metrics and facts of interest. The platform will fuse together this information into a comprehensive situational awareness. iTrust will assess the trustworthiness by training machine learning models on trustworthy reports. It will utilize machine learning to look for signs of intentional deception in the incoming data. This information is then taken into account in the information fusion. The confidence and high-level metrics and facts of interest is estimated using statistical aggregation confidence estimation. Forecasting and AI techniques will be used to track and forecast the progression of the metrics and facts of interest over time. Users can define objectives in terms of prioritized metrics and facts of interest. Users will then define different inputs, such as first responders, medicines, etc., and actions, which will relate a quantity of inputs with a change in metrics and facts of interest. iTrust will employ intelligent optimization methods to recommend an optimal plan to achieve the objectives. iTrust combines multiple cutting-edge technologies together through a well-designed system architecture. iTrust employs existent natural language processing and computer vision technologies for information extraction. We've already developed techniques for estimating trustworthiness. These have been used in our iHelp product. Existing statistical techniques can be applied to estimate the metrics of interest and appropriately fuse information together, taking into account the information trustworthiness. Existing AI technologies for forecasting and optimization can then enable prediction of scenario evolution and intelligent action recommendation. iTrust puts cutting-edge information discovery, foresight, and action recommendation capabilities into the hands of decision makers. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Team Polaris. Your Q&A session is about to start. Your 6-minute session with the jury will start right after we hear the first question, and a reminder that your microphone will be muted at the end of your allotted 6 minutes. So let's start with jury member in Belgium, then we'll go to Norfolk and then Ottawa. Over to you, our jury member in Belgium.
Thank you. So in our now society, a lot of data is now moved to specific apps and not in one general app or not one social media we're listening to. So how do you deal with this bandwidth of everyday new approaching apps dealing with specific topics and special interest groups to get into your system?
Thank you for that question. Yes, the way that iTrust is designed is it's actually designed with the ability to incorporate many different information sources in mind. So from the initial inception of the product, the goal is to be able to incorporate new sources of information on an ongoing basis as they come out, as they become released. So the way it works is through an architecture that uses different types of information listeners. So we have an interface that allows the information listeners to connect and input their information into the system. And so, if a new social media platform comes out, for example, to be able to incorporate information from that platform, all that needs to happen is a specific listener needs to be developed for that platform that can take the information, just the raw information, in terms of text and images, and then input that into the main system. And then it will be in a place, that information, where the extraction can happen and the information fusion, and it can be integrated with information from all the rest of the social media and other data sources.
Thank you. Let's go to our jury in Norfolk.
Yeah, thanks. I'll start. You mentioned action recommendations. That's really the trick, isn't it? Tell me more about how you utilize this in this incredibly complex environment to recommend actions for your users.
Yeah, that's a great question. So with respect to the actions, different types of contexts are going to have different types of actions. And so, the approach that we use is to have a library of user-defined actions. Now, the tool was incepted for with humanitarian crises in mind. And so if the tool is going to be adapted to other contexts, actions have to be likewise developed for those. But the idea is this: when you take an action, the goal is to evoke some kind of change in the environment. And so what an action does is that's going to take a certain quantity of resources. Again, these are also user-defined. The idea of resources, things such as medicines or different types of personnel, it's going to take resources, take a quantity of resources and impact or change a metric or fact of interest accordingly. And so basically the approach is this, is that for the particular type of context, a library of actions are developed, and of course, this requires certain types of domain expertise. So these actions are developed in conjunction with experts, so that when they happen, the results happen realistically, the impacts happen realistically. But that's the general approach: is to build up actions, and then that are user defined and expert vetted. And then once we have that information, then once we can relate quantities of inputs, different resource inputs to effects in the environment, then we can start to apply optimization techniques to determine, what is the appropriate, what is the best course of action that's going to lead me to the results that I want. We also take into consideration, maybe the costliness, for instance, of some of the inputs. Not all inputs are equally costly, and so, we have to take into account, how to achieve that effect, at the lowest possible cost. And so what we do is we apply optimization technologies to make this happen.
Yeah, another question from here. You're talking a lot about logistics optimization and action optimization and things like that. Can you discuss this in the context of cognitive warfare?
Certainly. So in the context of cognitive warfare, the types of actions that we have to take are going to be quite a bit different than we would have to take in a logistical context. So what would have to happen in this case is, we bring together our experts who can understand the impacts of different types of actions, in the cognitive domain, and we determine, what are the different types of inputs that we need to take into account, and what are the effects that we're hoping to accomplish here. So again, the process is going to be essentially the same. The domain expertise is going to be a little bit different, though. We have to incorporate the expertise of cognitive warfare experts in this case.
Okay, let's go to our jury members in Ottawa this time.
I'll just pick up on the same thread. I'm interested in, when we're talking about crises that transpire in the realm of natural disasters, et cetera, it's a lot less complex than when we're talking about the cognitive environment, especially in the information domain. I'm really interested in what your thoughts are with regard to political consequences. We're talking about an alliance that has 30 different nations. It came up previously. And things like political consequences, responses by adversaries, how we would predict tactical actions having strategic consequences, and how your tool would address those types of factors.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, with respect to political outcomes, obviously, in the context of a conflict, there's going to be a lot more potential ramifications than you would find in a humanitarian disaster. With respect to being able to predict those kinds of things, what would have to happen, again, the tool, the users of the tool would have to have their team of experts to determine, what are the appropriate effects here that we might be looking for here, and what might possibly lead to those kinds of effects here. In the cognitive domain, you're right, it is a little bit different than in the crisis domain. But what we'd have to do is understand, using certain things like past data, what would be, what would cause an impact, what would cause people to react in a certain way in response to actions that were taken on the ground. And of course, those would be metrics and facts of interest that could be projected using the system's inherent capabilities.
Thank you, Team Polaris. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. That concludes our sixth pitch. Let's meet our next finalist. Team Beam Me Up has submitted a solution titled Counter Disinformation Intelligence Platform for Countering Cognitive Warfare. Let's hear what they've got to say.
Beam Me Up Augmented Intelligence team is proud to be part of this NATO Innovation Challenge. Understanding the main priority on decision-making, BMU believes that our counter-disinformation intelligence platform will provide a new influence operation capability, accelerating decision-making in multi-domain operation in a cognitive warfare environment. Throughout this demonstration, BMU solution delivers a useful, practical, mission-focused integrated platform using innovative and state-of-the-art AI-powered modules at medium to high TRL. This adaptable and feasible solution is system-agnostic, enabling its integration in most command and control systems, and can be integrated in a synthetic training environment using immersive technologies such as VR, AR, and LiDAR. Built on a cognitively diverse team and an international R&D ecosystem, BMU Augmented Intelligence provides visualization, sensory, behavioral, cognitive, and predictive technologies, offering innovative, practical, and advanced solutions. Focused on human cognitive and human-machine partnership, BMU provides tailored multisensorial augmented analytic platform, integrating an ever-growing number of intelligent assistant agents modules within an immersive environment, ready for any live human-machine adaptation, digital twin, or system brain training. Our proposed counter-disinformation intelligent platform reflects the integration of modules at different SRL from two major projects with the Department of National Defense, as well as other dual technology modules advanced across different industries. Specifically, the different modules were tested using online space influence operations, in a counter-radicalization operations, and the influence operations leading to the annexation of Crimea in 2014. This platform aims to accelerate the decision cycle, enhance cognitive and behavioral performance and resilience, strengthen the understanding of the adversary disinformation capabilities, and improve the effect of counter-disinformation operations while providing immersive training capacity. It leverages 4 cutting-edge AI-powered modules designed to support the joint operation planning process and all of government decision cycle in multiple domain operations.
In this video, we show components of 4 modules developed by BMU against disinformation in the online space. It includes situational awareness, social cognitive network, including fact-checking, and the augmented intelligence analytics module. While this solution provides an intelligent process automation for information processing, the AI-powered augmented analytics offers unique capability in cognitive and emotional intelligence, as well as providing a high degree of forecasting and predictability, accelerating decision-making. The proposed solution aims to provide a new counter-disinformation capability targeting online space and digital communications, emphasizing the societal, cognitive, and behavioral domains of a population and its authorities. This TRL-7 situational awareness module provides tracking, monitoring, indicators and warnings, and assessments extracted from online space and digital information data through voice, text, image, and video processing using AI. The AI-assisted indicators and warnings module is supported by a fact-checking tool to identify the nature and scale of the potential attack, as well as the effects on the population. This module provides commanders with a higher degree of confidence, leading to evidence-based decision-making. As shown in these proprietary query and analysis tools, this TRL-7 platforms enables the assessment and predictability in emotional intelligence, such as mood, coalition and persuasion, the effects of adversary actions in terms of population polarity, engagement level, influence effects related to trust, confidence, and social political effects. This module provides insights on behaviors and development of insight analysis on the adversary's intent and effects of the attack. The integrated cognitive assistance platforms span from cognitive performance analytics to real-time intelligence system capable of supporting the human on the loop. This TRL-7 Augmented Intelligence Analytics module offers cognitive, pattern and trend, sentiment, thematic, monitoring, and effect analysis, and would include countermeasure analytics. As an example, this polarity tool enables us to see the effects of disinformation on the population. As demonstrated in this automated decision tree and resulting PEMSI results, this solution provides a level of predictability and understanding of the adversary intent and motivations acting, as well as potential counter-disinformation options. This solution was designed with the concept of human on the loop to validate the options for government authorities, commanders, staff, and operators. In a training environment, this platform leverages the non-invasive neurocognitive modules and biometrics, leveraging immersive technologies to assist operators and commanders in improving their cognitive and behavioral performance, as well as resilience.
Specialized in the cognitive and behavioral domains, this SRL-6 BMU counter-disinformation intelligence platform was designed to assist government authorities and commanders in enhancing their decision-making in a training environment and in the future in operations. Thank you for this opportunity and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, team Beam Me Up. Your Q&A session is about to start. We'll start with jury members in Norfolk, then go to Ottawa, and then Belgium. Jury members in Norfolk, the mic is now yours.
I'll start. Several times in there you mentioned TRL-7. What will it take to get to TRL-8?
Yes, so basically we'll need to solidify the platform further, complete the integration with the client, which will affect us deeply into customizing the solution. Basically, we think that we're able to reach in 2025. So I'll say that something realistic is 2025. So working in 2 years to 3 years in order to solidify, training the system fully, stressing them in order to making sure everything is working properly and connected properly also to the foundation that the client will have provided.
Okay, let's go to jury members in Ottawa.
Again, your system seems to be automated a lot, so I see a lot of automation in it. In the text that you provided with your submission, it says that decision makers are offered different actions. Who decides what's the choice? What's the source of those actions? I'm concerned about what we imply by those actions. Can you expand on that?
Yes, a part is a bit confidential and source, but Jerry, could you?
Yes, the entire system is designed on doctrine, tactics, and techniques that are currently known. And as we go through this information, the platform, then we can build on the evolution of those techniques that are used by the adversary. And in terms of training for our side, it's during the training portion, is really to look at exactly at how they react to those situations.
Yeah, and I could add also that basically the different action will be depending basically of the we covering the PMZ. So we want to be able to adjust and give like the counter decision making. Will it be as well at the same time there's building up the resilience in the population? So it's multi-level tool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to our judge in Belgium.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking at this tool and looking for the target audience for this, like the decision maker. Isn't that for commanders too complex, and isn't there the big risk of losing themselves in the tool and make the analyst obsolete to a certain extent? And how do you want to cover this relationship, like between the analyst and the decision maker, the commander?
First, I will begin. So first, basically, we always want to keep the human in the loop. We want to help the decision maker in the commanding room in order to act quicker, faster, train them. So it could be used. Don't forget, there's also the training mode, you know, that will put them in such scenarios in order to be more efficient. And then I will let Jerry, which is more adequate to answer the rest.
In terms of transparency, it is really important that we design the system so that operators can look at the results and be able to amend whatever the options are. And then at every level, it's done so that the commander at the end gets an integrated solution and with courses of actions that would help him at that point to make a decision based on his priorities. We develop matrix to support that, which is what we're focusing on, and also probability level, so that at the end, when he looks at his courses of actions, he has a better understanding of the level of success or the effect that he's looking for.
Okay, we have a minute and 37 seconds remaining. If any judge has an additional question, go for it. Ottawa.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. I'm very interested in the concept of countermeasure analytics. And if I remember correctly from your presentation, you mentioned that you look at the effects of your interventions along the cognitive, behavioral, and societal levels. I was wondering whether your system has a way to actually make sure that the decisions that you make are harmonized across all of those three levels in cases where a particular intervention may be more or less efficacious based on a specific level of analysis.
Okay, so first, I'm not sure if I've answered properly. Alexi, could you answer for this?
That is a good question. Thank you for your question. Well, we take into account all of the cognitive behavioral components when we give outputs with our platform. Everything is based on EEG, if we can, in training mode, or in NLP computer vision elements that can let us know the outcomes on the people through the emotional and cognitive sectors.
Hey,
in fact, our influence diagram takes the different options presented to the influencer and the different possible action.
Thank you for that. Apologies. The time is up. That concludes our 7th pitch. Thank you. Let's meet another finalist. Team Verifix Incorporated has submitted a solution titled Dual Use Behavioral Science-Based Artificial Intelligence Platform. Let's have a listen.
Hello, I am John Fuse, CEO and founder at Verifix. Today we are presenting Verifix National Security, which is a behavioral science-based AI platform for internet environment analysts that links the digital, physical, and cognitive dimensions. The core leadership team at Verifix comprises myself, John Fuse, 25 plus years in intellectual property and former board member of a public company. Jennifer Watkins is our CTO. She is a computational social scientist from Los Alamos National Labs and is published in the use of forecasting by the intelligence community. Our COO is Adam Hesch. Adam is a former U.S. Navy officer and held product and operation roles at Facebook and the U.S. Defense Digital Service. We start with usefulness. Malinformation operations exploit cognitive vectors to shift belief and resulting physical behaviors using nudges that advance the strategic interests of the attacker. Nudges, presented as passive information, go largely undetected and represent the greatest threat to cognitive security. For example, undetected nudges can shift votes, instigate violence, protests, and worse. So nudges are our focus. To be useful for defense, though, we need to know about the nudges used in attacks before they happen. Verifix provides the nudges needed by internet environment analysts to anticipate, interdict, and combat dismiss and malinformation. Verifix can even take the nudges and quantify cognitive impact, establishing nudge belief causation, and allow analysts to focus on the nudges that will do the most harm. Since this original US debrief, the Verifix AI platform has been further developed and refined to reduce cognitive overload on users, automate data collection and processing, and operate on non-public data sources. So now let's talk about feasibility. This is a patented dual-use commercial off-the-shelf technology. It is in commercial use now. You can turn on the commercial platform in a matter of days, well within NATO's direct purchase spending limits. Our government platform that incorporates appropriate security and exports into existing analyst tools will take more time. Now the solution. We start with new data. The AI platform interface uses traditional in-country panel recruitment vendors to interact with a 100-person panel representative of the target population. The platform then collects data on the topic of concern. That could be troop readiness, climate security, COVID. The panel members remain anonymous to Verifix. They consent and are paid similar to standard market research participants. Verifix is ethical and legal, complying with GDPR and all known data privacy regulations. No PII is collected by Verifix or exported from any country. For commercial use, Verifix handles the questions and panels. For government use, we will develop a question library that will allow analysts to deploy questions on their own. The system automatically, and in as little as 24 hours, collects and processes data to provide focused, usable insights. Our output is not replicatable by standard survey or social listening methods. We leverage several well-researched behavioral science principles, one of which includes the unique role of the forecasting function of human cognition, to surface population-level insights. We are designed to work with your existing and future data tools as well as augment and improve other data sources. The nudges are key. These indicators allow analysts to identify and focus on the high-threat nudges, watch for an adversary's public testing, watch subsequent network building, and anticipate real-time attacks, opening up NATO defensive options previously unavailable. Our nudges allow analysts to reduce their cognitive workload, increase efficiency, and focus on high-threat vectors. An analyst can take the nudges to social media monitoring tools, and look for abnormal usage and then network map. These additional tools are not provided by Verifix. Rather, our technology is designed to feed into existing or new tools, perhaps from others in this event. We have successfully tested the government use case in 8 different scenarios. In addition to nudges, the system also tracks belief change across the 15 different questions. Belief change correlates directly into action, whether it is consumer spending or protests. This allows you to know exactly what the cognitive state of a population is and anticipate adverse events, such as counterinsurgency actions, terrorism, or domestic protests. For example, monitoring belief change can include monitoring troop readiness, yours or an adversary. This is a real example of Verifix accidentally picking up 4 country X military. Although not statistically relevant, the pessimism in the military was concerning. This can be run in any location and monitor any military now, which means adversaries likely are doing something similar. The insights do not stop there. Especially popular in our commercial product is the audience analysis tool, where we use base demographic information to identify the population segments most likely to be affected by cognitive attacks. Our testing is also popular, where we establish belief issue causation. The cognitive warfare domain does not stay neatly in one area. Verifix is a dual-use technology that allows countries to buy one product with multiple purposes. This is technology that is available now. Based on well-studied behavioral science research, it offers first-of-its-kind, test and validated data to better understand and defend against population-level cognitive attacks. We invite NATO to join us on this journey to ensure freedom and security in the cognitive domain. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Verifix. Your 6-minute Q&A session is about to start. Reminder that your microphone will be muted at the end of your allotted time. This time we'll start with jury members in Ottawa, then we'll head to Belgium and then Norfolk. Over to you, Ottawa.
For a very interesting presentation. I had a question about the different types of nudges that you talked about, not just in your presentation, but also in the material that we received. So specifically, you talked about this particular kind of nudge that you refer to as a passive nudge, and that they frequently go undetected. I was wondering whether you can sort of define what you mean by a passive nudge and how your countermeasures are for dealing with that.
Sure. The research has shown that the most effective way at inducing belief change, which is what cognitive warfare is with constant exposure to passive information. So we see it in existing campaigns now where it's like constant, right? There's constant churning. It's not a single time attack. You have to constantly feed and train. Research has shown, I think the public research out of Israel has shown a 30-minute intervention results in a 4-month impact. Right? On the internet, we are not dealing with 30-minute interventions, but seconds. The cognitive impact is much lower. So there's that constant churning of nudges, kind of training, and then waiting for the attack nudges to be introduced.
Thank you very much. And just to follow up on that, so in terms of the countermeasures against those nudges, you talked about positive and negative nudges in return. So is any of those associated with better rates of changing beliefs that emanate from passive nudges?
So we can do both positive nudges and negative nudges. For cognitive warfare, the advantage is knowing the nudges early because adversaries test prior to use to make sure they don't have the wrong impact. We can privately test. There are different uses for those nudges depending on the use case and what we're structuring a project for.
Okay, we'll go to our judge in Belgium.
So I'm talking about cognitive warfare and behavior change. So at which time you say that you change the behavior or switch the change of behavior into a change of belief so that it's enduring?
Correct. Nudge is a direct impact in belief directly correlates to action change. So in a recent test in a Five Eyes country, we were tracking as a test views of housing prices, belief in change of housing prices versus actual weekly changes. And there's a direct correlation in terms of the belief induced versus what was happening in those areas. There's limited testing that we can do publicly, as you can imagine, but we can correlate actual belief change to physical act.
Thank you. Our jury members in Norfolk.
It sounds like the system's up and being used out in the commercial realm. Do you have any government or Defense Department or Ministry of Defense clients right now using this system?
Current use, there's something pending I'd be happy to talk about, not on a public forum.
Okay.
If I understand it correctly, you have panels, up to 100 people on a panel. How are they selected? And I've been known to lie to a pollster occasionally. How do you know that they're telling you the truth when they respond to things?
So there's several different aspects from a NATO standpoint, right? NATO currently, if my understanding is correct, is using survey vendors in various countries to collect data information. We've already been in touch with some of them. We essentially operate with them and would pick panels with those groups. Panels would be representative We're looking for diversity in the panel members. Can we have someone lying? Absolutely. We're using, though, it's not a single point in time data collection, it's a longitudinal study. So we're taking same people, same question over a set time period. So we're actually tracking individuals. If someone wants to get on the system and try and game it and select 100 each time and enter a null set, we can also back that individual out. The net effect, though, is in our 100-person panel size, the error that they introduce is minor. And in fact, we're not really concerned with accuracy of those, the forecasts themselves. We're generating noise around a consensus, which is where these nudges come from.
Could you detect if 10% or 20% of them were colluding to nudge you right back?
Yes, because if the system is running constantly, right? If you turn the system on for a week or two, can you detect an normal response? It's much more difficult. But when the system is turned on and running constantly, sure. If you load up a new panel, all of a sudden that panel is not matching up on certain key-based questions that you have running over from the previous panel. That's easy to detect.
Okay, we've got 1 minute and 28 seconds left. Any other questions from any of the judges? Jury members.
Yeah, very quickly, I haven't used the word intellectual property all day long. Who owns your intellectual property? Is there going to be any problem with deploying this around to NATO countries?
No, so Verifex owns it. We have applications pending in the EU, US, Canada, Japan. As a company, we have limited ourselves to US investment only through the Trusted Capital Program.
Okay, we have 50 seconds, Team Verifex, if there's anything else you'd like to add or if there are any further questions.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This concludes our 8th pitch. Let's meet our next finalist. Team Novacine AI has submitted a solution titled Novacine Distiller. Let's hear it.
Hello everyone, my name is Marcelo Burstein and I'm CEO of Novacine AI. Our company helps organizations harvest insight from unstructured data using artificial intelligence. Our presentation is organized into 3 sections: usefulness, innovativeness, and feasibility. I will go through each of these and close the presentation with a brief summary. Usefulness, the potential impact of our solution. In this section, I will discuss the need, the approach to solve the need, and the benefits to NATO. We are in unprecedented times where anyone can own the printing press, and high costs and geography are no longer barriers for malicious actors to spread disinformation. Further, social media platforms are incentivized by financial profit, which slows down collaboration with governments. So, we believe that governments must explore their own solutions while they work with the social media platforms to encourage their collaboration. Our approach to solve this need is to design a solution that puts the analyst in the driver's seat. Our solution combines 3 modules: ingestion, enrichment, and dissemination of data. The ingestion module provides a real-time downward data stream to ingest videos from TikTok and tweets used to promote these videos. The ingestion module retrieves not only the videos and tweets, but also their metadata, including location, likes, shares, and retweets. The module also ingests information about the accounts that posted the content. Finally, the module consolidates and pre-processes the data to prepare it for an AI enrichment pipeline. The enrichment module is comprised of 6 AI-based enrichers. A deepfake detection enricher is used to distinguish between real and fake videos. We can imagine the devastating power that a fake video impersonating a trusted source could have on vulnerable populations. Geolocation detection can be used to pinpoint the origin of the content, despite efforts by malicious actors to obfuscate this data. Identity prediction is used to understand who is behind the attack, as well as the target populations such as media, politicians, civil society, and so on. Bot detection is used to understand when attacks are being amplified using fake accounts, which could uncover attacks as well as provide metrics to measure their potential reach. Emotion detection is used to understand victims' reactions and the psychological effect that attacks might be having on them. And finally, a set of models designed to understand themes, topics, and create summaries from the ingested data. The dissemination module provides a purpose-built dashboard designed with the analyst in mind. The visualizations focus the analyst on what matters most and filter out the noise. The dashboard is designed to answer the what, who, where, and when of the attacks, helping analysts understand the content, originators, propagators, and potential reach of the campaigns. Analysts can also set alerts to get notified as new suspicious activities emerge. In terms of benefits to NATO, the solution provides analysts with a way to detect cognitive attacks, verify the scale and nature of the attack, quantify their success, design and deploy countermeasures, and support decision makers. In terms of innovativeness, we believe that ours is a purpose-built solution. It provides analysts with a coherent, end-to-end product. It follows the principles of user-centered design, where technology is at the service of the user needs. It replaces commercial solutions designed for other purposes, and it provides a modular architecture that can grow as new needs are identified and without major rework. In terms of feasibility, we believe that ours is an achievable solution. We use a combinatorial innovation approach to combine proven components. Many of the components we discussed here have been successfully integrated and tested, and we believe that our solution is achievable within a short development cycle. In summary, we proposed an integrated and coherent product designed for the analyst to help them spot, understand, and analyze influence operations and to design countermeasures to mitigate their success. In closing, it has been an honor to have been selected as a finalist and a pleasure to have shared our vision with you here today. From everyone at Novacine, thank you.
Thank you, Team Novacine AI. Your Q&A session is now about to start. We'll start with the jury member in Belgium, then go to Norfolk, and then Ottawa. Jury member in Belgium, the mic is yours now.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. My question goes to your geolocation. How diverse is this geolocation tracker? Can you identify different locations, like where it is produced, where it has been brought up, where does it be disseminated? Because there are several different points to the geolocation, please.
Sure, thanks for the question. So for the geolocation enricher, we propose to use convolutional neural network to analyze the posts and the bios on the attack. On the accounts that are posting the content. The actual accounts that can be analyzed depends on the analyst. They can use the dashboard to drill down on whether they want to see the originators of the post or the propagators of the content. And we believe that this enricher goes beyond what it's made available, but the metadata on the data that it's being ingested. So I'm not sure if that answers the question.
No, the question was like, if the geolocator also like says where, for example, the video is produced, like, is it really a Belarus or a Russian picture, or is it made somewhere in backyard of an Indian factory, something like that? And where it's produced, then who like then put it on the internet, and how did it move in the internet? So like a tracing.
Got it. Okay, so where the video was originally posted, that can be geolocated, as well as the gestures from those that are propagating that content with retweets, likes, and shares. That can also be detected. Where the video was originally produced, it's not something that we have considered in our solution.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to our jury members in Norfolk.
Sure. You talk about it being having a modular architecture. Is that open? Because there's a lot of functions there. Should somebody come up with a better way of doing, bot detection or geolocation or something, can that be slipped into your architecture, or is it closed?
That's exactly the purpose of the modular architecture. Our model is, like I described in the presentation, is 3 modules: ingestion, enrichment, and dissemination, or data visualization. In terms of the AI enrichers, we do currently have a library of different models that we use to perform different detections. And in fact, we have different versions of enrichers that are supposed to perform the same type of enrichment or annotation. So as we detect and research new technologies that are coming out to market, as well as our own R&D efforts, create superior models, we can swap the models in the library.
And one other question is this in use anywhere yet?
A version of it is. I guess you could consider what we presented in the presentation as a TRL4, where components of the solution have been and are being used in financial intelligence, as well as market and public opinion research settings. I think the answer is yes. Not specifically in cognitive warfare, but yes, in other scenarios.
Great. Okay, let's go to our jury members in Ottawa.
Hi there. I'm interested in the identity prediction. I just want to pull on that a little bit. Obviously, as military professionals in the information domain, predicting identity or attribution is important to us. Can you speak a little bit about what kind of fidelity we can expect with regard to your solution?
Sure. So what we wrote mainstream media, etc. So that's the initial approach that we're proposing for prototype. But of course, I mean, the labeling and the classes that we end up using will depend on the actual use cases. And we see, the spirit of our solution is co-creation. So we do see working with the analysts that are solving the real world problems today, for us to tell us what kind of fidelity they want to see and what kind of identities they're interested in.
We have a minute left if there are any further questions.
I would like to ask a question if there's time. In terms of the structure of your modules, I was very pleased to see that you have layers associated with emotions and sentiments. I did have a question about the degree of specificity with which you can identify different kinds of emotions and sentiments, and how you've investigated their effects on the victims.
Sure. So sentiment is, your table stakes sentiment analysis that has been around for a long time. On the emotion side, we are working with partners in local governments to try to pinpoint the salient emotions. I think we have 8 primary classes in our algorithms right now. And it's an evolving space that we continue to do research on and are working on actively right now.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Novacine AI. That concludes our 9th pitch. Now let's meet our last finalist of the pitch event. Team Shumack has submitted a solution titled TAGC, an approach to deal with troubled times. Roll the video.
Hi, Hi, I'm Jean-Yves Fizet. I'm going to be presenting Taxi, which is a response that we offer to the NATO challenge on cognitive warfare. I'm going to be representing my colleague, Juliana Bortolozzo. We both work for a company, Système Humain Machine, that specializes in cognitive engineering as well as in artificial intelligence. We're going to look at some of the issues that face somebody who's supposed to be looking and trying to deal with aspects of cognitive warfare. We're going to be describing the solution to some of those issues. We'll discuss an example to try and give a good feel for how the solution might work. And of course, we'll be happy to answer any question that you may have. So let's dive right in. The problem that we face is if somebody is given the responsibility to identify threat, whether emerging or well developed into a domain such as cognitive warfare, you're going to be facing exactly the same situation as operators in other fields have faced since decades, if not a century. Essentially, you're going to be drowning in pieces of data, yet you're going to be thirsty for relevant information. At the same time, let's pretend that through some hard work or sheer luck, you're able to find that there is an emerging threat. Then the problem will become, how do we deal with it in the best possible ways? Research that we've conducted over several years have led us to develop a method called Taxi that allows you to determine what kind of stuff do we need to look at, how do we need to look at, and then how can we organize information in a way that allows us to formulate or to use a response for that. Let's take an example at the Taxi interface. A Taxi interface is what you see on the right-hand side. What you have is at the top is the top-level goals of a domain. And underneath, right underneath that, you see trend graphs that show actually sub-goals, the state of the sub-goals that drive those goals. Now, where does that information come from? If you look at the left-hand side of the screen, you can see something called a goal tree success tree. I won't get into details, but this is a tool that has been developed several decades ago by other researchers to deal with the problem known as alarm avalanche in a very, very large socio-technical system. It's well proven, it works well, it just has never been used for cognitive warfare monitoring. At the same time, once you can determine there is an emerging threat, the question is, what do we do about it? Well, here we can draw lessons from the nuclear industry. In the nuclear industry, if you can identify 50 potential threats, then you prepare the best you can for them. Now, you need an umbrella because sure enough, one day the 51st threat will come up, which you haven't prepared for. There is an approach known as symptom-based approach that you can use to deal with those threats. In other words, you can handle either expected threat, or if you have non-expected threat, there are ways that you can create a method to deal with that, and it's all based on the notion of goal tree success tree. Now, in terms of feasibility, well, Taxi is really a method that prescribes rules and principles and a set of techniques and models, very important for the models. So it's not only the presentation layer, it's the nature of the information. It's been used in nuclear industries, it's been used to create dashboards for web application, it's been used in a number of places, except it's rarely called specifically that, and it hasn't been applied to cognitive warfare. There are some success factors like having access to the right skills, you need the right experts, but if you follow the method, if you build a goal tree success tree, then you're going to succeed. It's a fairly straightforward method. It doesn't rely on any exotic or sophisticated technology. We don't believe that technology can solve this kind of problem by itself. One of the interesting things of Taxi is it's domain independent, so you can apply it to different domains, and it's also technology independent. It doesn't require a big effort to implement. So in conclusion, Taxi offers a solution to help determine what kind of information to look at and what to do about it using knowledge that we've integrated from different fields, different pieces of research. It's highly innovative, it's novel, it's powerful, it's never been used for the cognitive warfare theater. The feasibility is simple because it's based on sound science. It's an approach that's been proven elsewhere, so there is very little risk. And if you have questions, if you would like to get more details about any pieces of TAXII, I'll be happy to answer any question you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Schumack. Your Q&A session is now going to start. Let's first go to our jury members in Norfolk, then Belgium, then Ottawa. Norfolk, over to you.
Yeah. Is this a proposal for a design approach to use when putting together human systems interfaces related to cognitive warfare? Hello?
I'm sorry. Unmuting is always a good practice. The short answer to that is yes. It's not a system. It's not a set of software modules. It's an approach on how you can put together, let's call that a cognitive warfare dashboard, if you like. So it prescribes not the presentation layer, the graphics or that kind of things. It prescribes the kind of information you want to look at, the kind of information you need, the kind of plans you have, and it provides a hierarchy of how you want to organize all of that so that you will be effective.
Yeah, sort of the related question, I guess, is that library of plans that you referenced. That seems to be where the real trick is, isn't it? Tell me more about how you develop that and how you continue to add to that over time.
Well, this is very right. This is, in French, we would say, c'est le nerf de la guerre. In other words, this is where the important piece is. The plans, because you have a model of the domain, which is a goal tree, success tree, which is just a fancy name for a hierarchy, a well-defined hierarchy of goals based on a well-defined technique to get there, then you can identify the most important goals that you need to pursue to be successful. For each of those goals, you will ahead of time be able to define a number of plans or procedures on how you deal with a threat for that goal. So this is human generated. However, in what has been learned in the very hard way in high-risk industries is that if you have so many plans, one day you'll run out of plans. So if you think of the plans in the goal hierarchy, they're more like vertical path in the hierarchy. So you need something else. You need a symptom-based plan, which is more like a horizontal thing. It is a plan at the symptom-based level is less cost-effective, but it will be more powerful. It will catch the things and deal with the thing for which you haven't prepared. Now, this is not the one that you want to use because it is less tailored, it is less cost effective, it will be more disruptive as a whole. But if you run out of plan, and you will one day, then you want to have something that you'll be sure to be able to use as a stopgap so that you're going to be able to deal with the threat, with any threat.
Great. And is it reason to imagine that at some time, instead of having a plan, the system will assemble pieces of plans into the actual plan that you implement?
You might, but planning in the AI domain is notoriously exceedingly difficult. For example, let's say you have two different threats at two different goals. Maybe plan A will go in a certain direction and plan B will go in another direction, which will undo some of the elements of the first plan. So it's a very difficult thing to do. So that's why the symptom-based approach has been used at a higher level. It says, well, whatever you're trying to do is very well, but it's not going to work or it's not working. So we're going to use this overall higher level approach to deal with the threat.
Okay, let's go to our judge in Belgium.
I mean, as everybody says, planning is everything, the plan itself is nothing, or no plan survives first contact with the enemy. And in this case, I would say the enemy is the human factor or the human mind. So how do you factor this illogical and not straightforward thinking human factor into your family of plans and this 360-degree approach?
Yeah, I think the saying is that no plan survived the first shot, or something like that. The thing is, having the list of goals that you wish to achieve allows you to prepare and validate plans ahead of time and practice the plans so that you work out any kinks that are in the plan ahead of time. And in the most part, for the most cases, having a prepared, well-analyzed, well-trained, well-validated response is your best bet. To counter the cases where the plan is not working, there is something completely unexpected that happened, then you have this higher level plan, the symptom-based plan. And what it does is, rather than concentrating on the lower level goals, it say, hey, we're ready to sacrifice the cargo on the ship. We're ready to dump the containers in the sea in order to save the ship. And we're ready to sacrifice the ship and put people in a helicopter to save the people. So the higher level plan is meant to be very powerful. It's designed with expert. It looks at satisfying the highest level goals in the goal hierarchy, irrespective of the individual goals. But this is, as I said, this is less economical, less desirable. But one very important thing with the plan is everybody must know about them, everybody must train on them, and everybody must train also when the plan fails, how you determine the plan has failed and how do you deal with the failed plan.
All right, we're just about done. Thank you, Team Schumack. This concludes the final pitch. We will now take a break. The jury will be deliberating and we will all return at 12 p.m. Eastern Time sharp to announce the winners. So roughly 28 minutes. We'll all see you then.
9.
Welcome back, everyone. As the host nation for this challenge, Canada has called upon the expertise of the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command, better known as CANSOFCOM. And so I would like to introduce Major General Steve Boivin, Commander of CANSOFCOM.
Thank you, Michael. Good day, and good day, everyone. I had the opportunity this morning to listen to some of the proposals, and I want to thank all of the teams for the hard work you all put into this. The complexity of the challenge in front of us is substantive, and I commend your efforts. The cognitive domain presents a number of challenges to the Canadian Armed Forces and to NATO, requiring us to seek innovative solutions emerging from cooperation across the military, government, the defense and security community, and the private sector from around the world. Events like this highlight the strength of NATO's cooperation in confronting emerging threats. We need to understand how to defend against potential attacks within the cognitive domain and to seek new ways to identify and protect ourselves. The Canadian Special Operations Forces Command is committed to investing in capabilities that enable us to succeed on operations both domestically and abroad. D'un point de vue opérationnel, nous devons mieux comprendre la menace que représente la menace cognitive, l'impact qu'elle peut avoir sur les missions au pays et à l'étranger, ainsi que les moyens pour se défendre. In that context, the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command is proud to have hosted with the RDC's ideas and on behalf of Canada, the NATO Innovation Challenge 2021. I will now conclude by thanking NATO ACT, Ideas, the panel of judges, our moderator, Michael, and all of the teams for the hard work in supporting the event and presenting your ideas. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you, Major General Steve Boivin. We're obviously all excited to find out who the winners are, but first let me thank the NATO Innovation Hub, as well as our host nation, Canada, Ideas, and CANSOFCOM for their efforts to pull this exciting event together. The jury, as you know, has reached a consensus, and so to announce the top 3 NATO winners, I now invite Brigadier General Poul Primdahl from NATO to speak. Just unmute. I invite, I'm not sure if the jury members in Ottawa will be announcing the winner or which jury members will be doing that.
The Canadian one?
Third place, second place, and first place.
Okay, Norfolk is joining us.
Okay, here we go. Norfolk, are you with us?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, great. I believe it's over to you to announce the winners.
All right, thank you for that. Are we unmuted?
Let's start the video.
Yes.
Perfect. So, dear participants, it is now time to announce the 3 winners of this NATO Innovation Challenge edition. As the president of the jury, I'm very honored to disclose the names of the 3 winners. Do we have the drum roll? Or? All right. At the 3rd place, team Influencers.
Congratulations, influencers. You can take this this time. The floor is yours if you'd like to say a few words.
Oh, well, thank you for the opportunity. We look forward to helping you folks out.
Thank you very much for that. So, Second place, Team Recognite. Team Recognite, congratulations. And would you like to make a comment as well?
Yeah, thank you so much. We're looking forward to bring our solution to actually make a difference in the cognitive warfare space. So thank you.
All right. And finally, at the first place, Team Verifix. And Team Verifix, congratulations. Do you wish to say a few words?
Thank you very much to NATO, and thank you very much to Canada for hosting this. And cheers. Thank you.
So, found the winner. Congratulations.
Congratulations to the winners. Yes. And thank you as well. And finally, Director General of Innovation, Eric Fournier, will now announce the winner of the top Canadian solution. Eric, over to you.
To extend congratulations to the 3 winners of the NATO Innovation Challenge pitch event. So 3 great winners. Jury has made excellent decisions. Hard being one of the judges, very hard to make those decisions. As the host country, Canada has made effort to invigorate our own innovation people in Canada to participate, and we had lots of input to this challenge. And our nation has a unique set of challenges, so we had to, at some point, pick a Top in Canada prize. So I'm very happy to say that the winner is Team Beam Me Up. That will be winning a prize from the IDEAS team. So congratulations to this prize.
Thank you very much. We're very excited and very happy and honored. So thank you to NATO, thank you to IDEAS, and thank you to Canada.
Congratulations to the Canadian.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honoured to be here today for the finale of this 9th NATO Innovation Challenge, co-organised by Allied Command Transformation and the Canadian Ministry of Defence. First, allow me to thank all the people, both in Canada and in ACT, who brought this important event together, and to congratulate every participant, particularly our 10 finalists. Innovation is one of the top priorities of this headquarters. ACT has been a key leader of innovation within the Alliance, particularly with our Innovation Hub, which we created back in 2012. As you know, our theme today was centred on cognitive warfare, an area of increasing concern to the Alliance. It's a complex issue at the intersection of information warfare, psychological operations, and cyber warfare. But fundamentally, this is about protecting our ability to make effective decisions in a complex battle space, enabled but equally challenged by our dependence on technology. Of course, this type of warfare cannot be fought solely by nations. It requires a collective response. Furthermore, within ACT, we see huge benefit in working with companies that are not historically or traditionally connected to the defence community. You can really provide innovative solutions. So this is what the Innovation Challenge is about. And I'm extremely pleased to see that among our participants today, a significant number of small businesses, startup companies, and individuals decided to compete. But of course, we should not forget that the real challenge will begin after today, when the proposed solutions are considered as real capability projects. I sincerely hope that some of our finalists here today can have the opportunity to bring their projects to completion with us in order to deliver solutions to the problems and challenges we face in operations. I'm aware that the reputation of this challenge is constantly growing. We're already discussing with many other NATO nations for future editions in 2022 and beyond. So, allow me to congratulate all the participants and to express again my gratitude to the organisers. Thank you.
Thank you to our finalists, to our jury members, our audience, of course, and our winners. Goodbye, and thanks for joining us.